allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. One of our planning board members lost his wife unexpectedly this past week. Thank you. Roll call.
John Baisley, First Ward.
Bill Carlos, Second Ward.
Joe Conti, Third Ward.
Michael Spohn, Fourth Ward.
Ann Shershen, Sixth Ward.
Todd Tancredi, Supervisor.
Alicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson, Attorney for the town.
All right, we have one public hearing on the agenda tonight, so I'd like to make a motion to open public hearing number 1, nuisance party.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone here to speak to this public hearing? Yes.
Hi, my name is Gail
Hello.
Canale, and I live on Woodlawn Avenue, and I want to voice my support for the nuisance law. I happen to have the fortune or misfortune to live next to a perpetual party house, and I could use the support of that nuisance law. My only question is the warnings. How are they going to be tracked and implemented as far as when a warning turns into an actual ticket?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, my view has always been that there aren't warnings. There's, basically a zero tolerance. So if the police show up at a residence, whether it's, around any of the colleges, and if they, our law states, if in terms of noise, they have to hear, noise that's unreasonably loud. Tickets need to be issued and so forth. So I don't think that policy is going to change. I mean, we really try to adhere to a strict policy. If the police show up and they see or hear something that is, not to be expected or, is in opposition to one of our ordinances or laws, tickets need to be issued. So I don't think that's going to change.
So there'll be no warnings per se?
I mean, the police, it's hard for me to say the police aren't going to use their judgment. They're paid, they're paid professionals. So, I'm never going to say, that they shouldn't show up and use their discretion and their judgment. My view is there's very little latitude in terms of when they get called to residence, they need to hear it or see it. But if they do hear it or see it, a ticket needs to be issued and, fines levied. And that's always kind of been my policy. But, they have to have discretion out in the street, when they're in the public, so.
And I don't expect that this nuisance ticket would be the result of an average college party. I'm thinking in terms of the house crawl,
Well,
the
that's
Beer
what we're
Olympics,
concerned about, yes.
the fundraiser
I agree with
that
you.
400 students
Yeah,
attended.
I remember, yeah. No, that's really our concern, are these parties that are much more than the average, much more than the norm. If you're in a typical neighborhood throughout the town and you have your family over, I don't think you have to worry about this one bit. This is for these, as you said, and I remember speaking to you about the fundraiser. These are for these parties that really grow to an abnormal size and magnitude, and hopefully this will give our police department some added, ammunition and leverage, so to speak, when they are there, and hopefully it'll help us better control these situations that are, becoming more difficult to control. So, it's another weapon hopefully we can use to combat these issues, these quality of life issues.
Thank you. I hope the board supports it.
I hope so too. Thank you, Gail. Rob. Rob, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Good. And I would also like to just say that I'm in support of the nuisance party law, But it just as a reminder that this is one of your tools, because I remember, was it, I guess, 2 years ago, you passed a noise ordinance law so that
Yeah.
there's a noise ordinance law as well as this, and there's probably a multitude of other laws too.
Yeah.
But folks also have the right to, if the party, they can still talk to the town about and complain when there's an excess of noise at late hours.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Hello.
Georgette Martin, I live on Woodlawn also. And last time I was up here, I had mentioned to you that Syracuse canceled their pub crawl. And I'd like to again mention it to you that we should cancel it. Gail forwarded Mike a video of last year's pub crawl. Did you all see it? That's not only a safety hazard to people that live on the block, but to the kids themselves. And you say the cops use discretion. Well, they sat there and watched it. So I think you really should consider canceling these things because, like you say, they're not normal. They won't affect a family or an individual because most people don't have 400 drunk kids doing shots and funnel shots in their backyard. You should just come there and try living there. I think it's gone beyond a quality of life situation. It's public safety now because, every year it gets worse and worse and worse. And now they're posting it on the internet so you can see it.
Right.
So I really feel that you're taking a step in the right direction, but you really should consider canceling it.
Well, it's not something the town,
We don't sanction it.
we don't sanction it or put it on. And I don't know what Syracuse did. I'd be willing to have whatever
No, it was
information.
Oswego.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Oswego.
So the college canceled it.
I'm not sure. It was in the newspaper that they canceled their pub crawl
I mean,
for the safety of
yeah.
the children.
Yeah, I hear you.
We try to alert the homeowners not to let the kids participate in them, and most of the homeowners do. But there's still a few of them that just won't tell the kids no, and it's private property.
Well, you say that the police use their judgment. Have they ever asked anybody for ID? I mean, I know underage drinking is still against the law. The cops sit there and watch.
Well, I could, if you want the list, I can give you a list of all the tickets that the police have issued since, over the last calendar year from September, through June. And, there's a lot of them. And we're bringing the kids into court. We're levying fines. We're taking it serious. We're trying to get them to take it serious. And, this ordinance is just hopefully another ordinance that'll be in place so that the police can further try to limit, I realize it's frustrating when you live in there, and I understand, but we are trying to limit these situations as best we can. A few years back, Rob mentioned the noise ordinance. We put a public urination law in effect probably most recently. Surprisingly enough, we didn't have that law in place. But we've been trying to add, these laws as we see fit to help better control the situation. So hopefully this will give us a little more leverage in controlling these problem areas. And Mike's right. A lot of the landlords, we know where they advertise where the, parties are going to be. And our community policing officer will notify the homeowners, and most of them will take action to stop the party. But there are those that, we want to get their attention with this law that tell us, basically what he wants to do about it.
Okay, well, we'd like that list.
Also,
Of what,
All
tickets?
the arrests, yeah.
Yeah, I can give you that,
Tickets.
sure. Call me tomorrow, stop in, and I'll get you that.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
also, just for a point of note, what was I going to tell you? I lost my train of thought. This law also affects the landlords. So those landlords that haven't been complying and allow the crawls to take place on their property, they will get a nuisance fine out of this, and 2 fines, and they're going to face some hefty fines. So, and possibility of not being able to rent their house. So it could work against them. So I think you're going to see a lot more compliance.
Yeah, this is a positive step, I think, is what the councilman's trying to say, and I think this is something that you'll see. It may take us a step or two, but we're going to get the results that we're looking for.
I hope so.
Yeah.
People attending the party. People attending the party were told to leave by the police and don't leave. They can be charged. The minimum fine, the first offense is $250, maximum $1,000. Second offense, minimum $2,500. Third offense, minimum $5,000. So if you want to go over and do shots, you can.
It's going to cost
Except
you.
understand that the penalties and implications of this. Now, I think the police department is going to make sure that all the houses up there have copies of this law, all of the students that live in the houses. The college is going to have a copy of it. I hope they publish it in a student paper, because the idea is to stop, prevent, not have to respond to and enforce.
Right, right.
If it's that, so right now, the people are going to hold the party, they're going to be fined. Minimum is $250 for first offense. Oh, by the way, they can go to jail for 7 days, depending on what the judge thinks about it.
This will help us, and Bill's right, this will really, what this is hopefully going to do is allow us to get to the organizers of these bashes and these parties, and/or, the property owners that have ignored the situation. Rather than just ticketing the party goers, it'll let us get to the organizers, hopefully, and, where you hurt them is in the pocketbook, and hopefully that'll be a deterrent.
Right. I can see it's going to be difficult issuing tickets to the party goers. I mean, if you got 400 kids
Yeah.
and 3 cops.
It's going to take they're going to have to write fast.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? I see no one. I make a motion to close public hearing number 1.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Be enacted, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie pursuant to a public hearing held on August 6, 2014, 7 p.m., Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, does hereby adopt Town Code Chapter 144 entitled Nuisance Parties as follows. See attachment, and be it further enacted, the Town Board does hereby waive the verbatim reading and does direct that said adoption of Chapter 144 be spread across the record as if it, in fact, had been read verbatim. Be it further enacted that the legal notice of public hearing was posted on July 28, 2014, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on July 28, 2014. And be it further enacted that the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie does determine that this action is a Type 2 action requiring no environmental review. Be it further enacted that said local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
So I think that it's reasonable to say, to acknowledge Councilman Krakauer, and members of the police department, Captain Spiro, Sergeant Jitka, Craig Wallace is our prosecutor, and our town attorney. Everybody sat around the table, and this was true, a lot of work to get this done. And I think it's going to absolutely help prevent, because the penalty is enough
Yeah.
to prevent it. So they should be recognized for what they did.
Thanks.
Ann?
Yeah, and the only other thing I'd like to say is, while it is a step in the right direction, I wish it was a little bit stricter on the property owners, and that they would then see a fine after only having one conviction. Because, I mean, if you have one conviction, and it takes months for these convictions to come through, they could have several other parties, and it could just stretch out the process even longer before they see any consequences. But at least it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And that brings us to the end of our public hearings. I'll run through the agenda items, and then we can take questions on agenda items. Number 2 is going to be a bid award for night vision system for the police department. Number 3 was a property maintenance, set the date for public hearing, but that's going to be withdrawn. It's been taken care of. 4 is to set the date for a public hearing to amend our traffic law, and this is for the no parking on Boardman Road. Number 5 is to authorize supervisor to sign IT solution, a contract with our IT people at the police department. 6, to approve our Arlington Street Fair to be held on September 20th. 7 is to appoint Heather Lamore as our court clerk. 8 is to accept the retirement of Robin Dermacki from the water department. 9 is to accept the retirement of Barbara Seelback from the court system. 10 is to award contract for mowing of town parks. 11 is to authorize time extension for recommendation from the planning board for the O'Neill Dutton project. 12 is to set the public hearing for a proposed zoning map change from R20 to ATC, and that's the Springside Neighborhood Development. 13 is to set the public hearing date for Country Club Estate Sewer District to be held on August 20th. 14 is accept a resignation and an appointment. We have Marv Bennett, who served faithfully on our planning board for 28 years, I believe. He's going to be moving to an alternate member. And then 15 is the appointment of Peter Finelli, who is currently an alternate, to fill that full-time slot. And then 16 is notification of a few claims that we will refer to legal. So I'd like to suspend the rules for public questions on the town board agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Would anyone like to speak to a town board agenda item? Doreen?
Yeah, I wonder if any changes have been made since the last meeting about the, to amend the vehicle and traffic law for parking on Boardman Road. You know, I was at that info session in February of 2012. I know the supervisor was there. Lords held a session where they talked about things like parking. Someone asked about the impacts to parking, and they said that there would be, even with removing spaces, they said there'll be an overcapacity for parking. We don't expect it will have any detrimental impact at all. Somebody asked if they had done traffic studies, and of course they did. And the traffic study says, you know, we've done studies. They were not extrapolations or theoretical. They've done counts. And based on all the studies, they don't think there was going to be any problem with parking. So, and they also then went on to say that there's really only 4 home football games a year that are large crowds that will be there. So I don't know why you're just not doing something like, you know, putting temporary, you know, no parking signs, and, you know, why you're actually changing the law. And also, if it's that much of a problem, I mean, I believe Marist College pays the police if there's an issue there to direct traffic at some of their large events. But, you know, I can't see changing the law for 4 games a year. I don't know why there just can't be something temporary there. And again, you know, this is what happens. You know, a project comes forward and there's never going to be any impacts to the, you know, to the neighbors, to the surrounding community, and then guess what? That's not the case. So. Again, I don't know if there's any changes, but you know, since last time. But I would, you know, recommend just having some temporary no parking signs. Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen. Anybody else? Seeing no one, I make a motion to resume the rules.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Bill, number 2.
Whereas the town of Poughkeepsie advertised for bids for up to 11 night enforcer PVS 14P medium capacity monocular night vision systems or other makers' products which are reasonably equivalent to the quality and performance, and the bid package called for a full description of the bidder's product, including its specifications and capacities. And whereas the bids were opened and read aloud on July 17, 2014 as detailed on the annexed bid opening form, and whereas a late bid was received from American Technologies Network, and whereas the bid of Aurora Tactical did not include 2 specifications relating to low light resolution and imaging, and another relating to its product's ability to convert light to electrical signal, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie hereby rejects the late bid of American Technologies Network, rejects the bid of Aurora Tactical because it did not include substantive specifications which were needed to evaluate the quality and performance of the product. And be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie awards the night vision system bid to Atlantic Tactical, Inc. at a price of $3,191.66 for 11 units. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions?
I see that there was a bid from a New York-based company for $15 more. Are these is this these night vision monocles, are they any service-related incidents? I mean, do we have to worry about that? Or are they sort of,
I don't know what you mean.
well, I mean, do the monocular night vision systems, do they require maintenance or anything like that? Should we?
It's, what is it, 11 divided into $3,000. The maintenance agreement on them wouldn't pay. I mean.
Well, my point is that if we gotta ask somebody to come from New Cumberland, Pennsylvania versus somewhere from
Oh,
New
okay.
York.
All right, I understand.
I wouldn't think I think these are, I don't think it's something
Reliable.
I think we'd mail back,
Is that the way that goes down?
I don't think it's a big piece of
I mean,
equipment that
do we,
they'd have to
we
come.
think that we should keep it in New York, or is it?
I think we are required to take low bidder and
low.
we have a real,
Yeah.
I know it's 15.
The other thing I wanted to clarify is
Go
that
ahead,
it's, these are per unit prices.
No kidding.
Right.
Okay.
They're $3,000 a unit?
these are purchased off a grant. I think it was a federal grant.
Then we have to change the resolution. At a price of $3,191.66.
Per unit.
For 11 units, it's gotta be per unit.
Per unit for, yes. Thank
So
you.
we gotta strike 11 units and put per unit,
I just
Alright.
put in per unit for 11 units.
So we'll have.
total of 11 units.
Okay.
So we'll have an amendment to the resolution, so reads per unit. All those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed? And all those in favor of the amended resolution?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0 on both accounts. Number 4, Joe?
3, right? Whereas
3 was withdrawn.
Oh, withdraw, that's right, I'm sorry. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby set the 20th day of August, 2014 at 7 PM at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, as and for the time, date, and place of a public hearing to consider an amendment to the Town Code, Chapter 195, entitled Vehicles and Traffic, specifically Sections 19548, Schedule 13, Parking Prohibited at All Times, which amendment would be as follows. Add Section 19548, Schedule 13, Parking Prohibited at All Times, Boardman Road, east and west, from the intersection with Zach's Way at the town city line south, approximately 3,168 feet, and Old Boardman Road on the north-south side from the intersection with Zach's Way east 200 feet to the intersection with Coach Light Drive, and be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does determine that this action is a type 2 action requiring no environmental review, and be it further resolved that said local law, if adopted, shall become effective immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, actually Sergeant Jink is here, if you'd like to come forward and talk about this. And I provided all the board members with a piece from Parcel Access so they can see what area we're talking about in Boardman and from what end to what end. And that basically, it's not a problem yet. I think the whole point is we're trying to avoid a problem in the future, that if people show up late to a football game and decide, hey, I don't want to park way in the back now by the credit union, I'm just going to put it alongside the road. So I think the idea here is to prevent a problem from becoming a problem, even though we don't currently have one.
That would be correct. And all the time I've been here, when Lords started having pickups, people would park down by the road. And anybody driving from where the library would be, going approximately 6/10 of a mile north to the sharp right curve to go onto Zach's Way, where the town city line is, there's either sharp S curves or curves with limited visibility. If someone pulls for whatever reason, whether it's child pickup or whether it's going to be for a football game, anybody parks there, we can't do anything about it, it would be legal parking. And if one car parks and the second car parks, and you're pulling out of Boardman, Old Boardman by Coach Light, you have limited visibility on the right as someone comes down from the straightaway into the left curve. If you get down by Lord's itself, by Arbor Court, there's very limited distance on the east side to park. There is more parking on the right, or on the west. Unfortunately, if people are going to get out and walk, they're going to be impeding the traffic flow. It's curvy, limited sight distance, and if it's dark, people are going to be in the roadway. The only times I've seen cars parked there is either when they've gone off the road and crashed into the swamps. People are picking up their children and they can't go up into the building. At this point, to say that it would be preventive maintenance not to have them park there for a football game where there may be issues with parking, at least by having the signs up, it would stop that. Lords, and I believe Councilwoman Shershin talked to the one resident on Old Boardman or Boardman across from Coach Light, and there would be no issues and no impact on any residents living there. As far as anybody parking along the straightaway on Zach's Way to walk, that's not our jurisdiction, and that has no posting that we would be putting up there.
Todd, you said there's no problem there now? We really haven't had an issue?
The time that I was there with issues were they wouldn't allow cars to pull up into Lords. There was an issue where they had to lock down the school, so all the cars were parked in the wintertime on the road out in front of Lords, across from Arbor Court on the west side going southbound. But anytime there's a car parked along from where the library is to Zach's Way, it's limited sight distance. There's limited room to pull off the road safely, so cars are slowing down, are going into the oncoming lane. And if you put kids, handicapped, elderly, or people walking in the road, opening car doors, now you have two lanes of traffic, and Boardman Road is a fairly heavily traveled road. Anytime we have to shut that down or limited traffic on that, regardless of the days, there's issues. It's a very heavily traveled cut through.
Mm-hmm. What was the school's feeling on this? Have we discussed
School
it?
has no issues. They're all for it. Ms. Shershin and myself spoke with the Dean of Men there, and she reportedly spoke with the homeowner on Old Boardman across from Coach Light.
I just don't want to go put signs up for no result. I mean, we have this same issue at Bowden Park twice a year, for the track tournaments and all that, So we put up a sign everywhere for twice a year. It seems to be an expensive habit. Like I've used you a couple of times for a couple of events in the first ward, and you've put up one-day parking signs. That's why I thought maybe we could discuss it with the school. We could probably get away with that instead of posting the whole road.
I would be more concerned not to have a special function, just one person decides to park and others, and then we have no legality to remove them or enforce no parking there. And if you drive through there, ask yourself, do you really think someone should park there and then get out of the car and walk on the roadway?
I'm not going to drive there.
The curves have very limited sight distance. There's very limited room on the east side where that swamp is, from Arbor Court south towards Spackenkill, to pull off safely, get out of your car, and if there is oncoming traffic, they're going to be going into the oncoming lanes. I don't think it should be just held for a football function. I think it should be year-round because there's no real purpose to park there.
That's why I didn't know if it was a big issue of people parking there, because I thought Ann had said at one point they had another lot they were using or something next door, and they don't allow them to use it anymore.
There is a lot up and back. I think the Vassar or the
Credit
bank.
union lot or something?
Yeah, the credit union lot, and they still letting them use it.
Right, now, we had spoke to Mr. Krieger on
Yeah.
that. If, unfortunately, they say you can't park here, and there's no signs on Boardman, and people start parking, you can't ask for a sign once people start parking, and that would be the preventive maintenance. But this whole area is not an area that people normally park and walk or just park.
All right, anything else? Thanks, Sarge. While you're here, I want to thank you. The sergeant steps up to the plate and in the PD on more than one occasion to take shift changes that are needed. So I appreciate your willingness to pitch in and do more than your share. So thank you.
Thank you.
Certainly helped me out plenty of times.
All right, let's see. We read it. We had a second. Any other comments? Nope. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. So we'll have a public hearing on August 20th. Number 5.
Whereas since February 1st, 2009, Patterson Specialty IT Solutions LLC has maintained the Town of Poughkeepsie Police Department's extensive computer filing and notification systems, and whereas Patterson has agreed to continue to provide services to the Town of Poughkeepsie at a price of $115,042.20 per year for the period of January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2015, which price represents a 2.5% increase over the 2012 and 2014 yearly flat charged by Patterson to the town. And whereas the town board has received Chief Morrow's memorandum regarding these services and does hereby conclude that the solicitation of alternative proposals for them would not be in the best interest of the town. Now therefore be it resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to accept the proposal from Patterson to continue to provide professional information technology, consulting, and management services required to operate and maintain the Town of Poughkeepsie Police Department's computer, filing, and notification systems for 1 year commencing January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2015 at $115,041.20 by contract acceptable in the form to the attorney for the town. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie authorizes the annual Arlington Street Fair on Saturday, September 20th, 2014, and whereas the presence for informational displays, food vendors, handicraft artisans, and nonprofit organizations is a vital part of a successful street fair, now therefore be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does not include the food vendors and merchandise displays in the Arlington Street Fair as peddlers and hawkers, and these vendors are thereby exempt from the provisions of Chapter 151 of the Town Code, and be further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby waive the provisions of the noise ordinance in regard to the Arlington Street Fair between the hours of 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. on September 20th, 2014, and be further resolved that this exemption shall apply only to the street fair celebration on September 20th, 2014, and be further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the closing of Raymond Avenue from the eastbound arterial to College View and Fulton Avenue intersection from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the Arlington Street Fair on Saturday, September 20th, 2014. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Be resolved that the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Heather E. Lamore to the exempt position of permanent full-time court clerk, grade 3, step 5, with the Town Court at a salary of $18.12 per hour, effective August 18, 2014, which appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 8 nor more than 26 weeks per civil service law. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept with regret the retirement of Robin Thermiaki from the Town of Poughkeepsie Water Department effective end of business day, August 29th, 2014. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion?
Yeah, Todd, I think this should include in her resignation letter that this does not address her sick or unused vacation time at this time. And if you look at her resignation letter, asking for time.
No, I don't. I don't know.
Yeah, you shouldn't say that that's.
Well, she's part of CSEA, isn't she?
Right.
Yeah.
So there's provisions in the contract that address.
If you read the letter, you want to make sure it states what's in the letter.
Right, it's just, those matters are, I believe, are dealt with by the contract, and this is the acceptance of the resignation.
Okay. All right.
Right, Jay?
Correct.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept, with regret, the resignation of Barbara Seelbach from her position of Clerk to the Justice effective August 15, 2014. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I believe Judge Sullivan is here and would like to make a comment on this.
Judge Sullivan would like to make a comment?
If I could.
Okay.
It's a comment in general, and that is that because of Barbara Seelbach's resignation,
Yeah.
things had to be done quickly in order to make sure that it didn't impact the court.
Yeah.
I had my discussions with Todd,
Yeah.
and I want to thank Todd publicly, along with the other members of the town board, for the expeditious manner in which you've handled this transition. And that's my only comment.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate that. Thank you for your work.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Whereas Franklin Roush has terminated his contract with the town for the mowing of the town parks, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie hereby authorizes the town supervisor to protect the interests of the town, including the right to award the balance of the contract to the next available low bidder. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So this guy just walked away from the mowing contract at this point?
He was
Or is he not doing it?
removed from the
I see.
the contract for the buildings, we terminated.
Yeah, Joe, we had issues a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
We addressed the issues and we terminated
Next week.
part of the contract, and now
The next week,
Okay.
we received a letter from him saying he was resigning from the rest of the contract. It just
Gotcha.
didn't work out.
And the next low bidder moving in, taking
Yes.
everything?
We had the two different contracts, one for the three buildings, this building, senior center and police court. That contractor's already in place and working, and the contractor for the much larger contract, our fields, was working out some insurance issues, getting the contract signed, and they'll be on board within a week.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby extend the time period under 210-154 of Town Code for the Planning Board to obtain information from the applicant, to make a recommendation to the Town Board on the proposed O'Neill Dutton, 1 Dutchess Avenue Development Waterfront Housing Overlay District designation from August 15th, 2014 to October 22nd, 2014. So moved.
Second?
For a motion and a second, any discussion?
Yeah, is there, they're not giving the information we want? Or they don't have enough time?
It's really a matter of additional time. When this matter was first referred over to the planning board, I think we asked for, I think it worked out to like 125 days. In the code, it's 45 days for a recommendation. We knew we would need additional time. The planning board does not meet in August, so we need really another month. My expectation is the planning board will refer the matter back to you, this board, at the September meeting. So we're just pushing it out to the October meeting in the event the planning board needs more time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Neil. Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Whereas the town board has received positive recommendations pursuant to 210154 of the town code from the planning board in regard to the application from Built Parcel 4 LLC requesting an amendment of the zoning designation of the tax parcel number 616108845933, also known as 57 Springside Avenue, located at and near the intersections of Van Wagner Road, Springside Avenue, South Terrace, from R20 District to ATC District, and whereas the amendment requires a public hearing, and whereas the town board has received the recommendation dated June 24th, 2014 from Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development stating that the proposed zoning amendment is a matter of local concern, now therefore be resolved that the town board hereby sets a public hearing on the proposed amendment for August 20th, 2014 at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can come to be heard in the Town Hall, 1 over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, and the Town Board directs the Town Clerk to notify the Town Clerks of each of the surrounding municipalities of the public hearing pursuant to GML 239NN. So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All right, 13. Let's see here. At a regular meeting of the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, New York, held at Town Hall in Poughkeepsie, New York on August 6, 2014 at 7:00 p.m. prevailing time. Present, we have the board members that are present. Whereas the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, New York, has caused to be prepared a map plan report including an estimate of cost pursuant to Section 202-B of the town law relating to the increase and improvement of the facilities of the Country Clubs Estates Sewer District in the Town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, New York, being the decommissioning of the existing sewage treatment facility, pump station, or forced main replacement and installation, a connection to the Arlington sewage treatment plant in the Town of Poughkeepsie, including original furnishings, equipment, machinery, apparatus, appurtenances, and incidental improvements and expenses in connection therewith at a maximum estimated cost of $1,450,000. And whereas said capital project has been determined to be an unlisted action pursuant to the regulations of the State of New York Department of Environmental Conservation, promulgated pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, the implementation of which, as proposed, it is anticipated will be determined to not result in a significant environmental effect, or will be the subject of a secret finding statement, and the documentation relating to secret is available in the office of the town clerk for inspection during normal office hours. And whereas it is now desired to call a public hearing on the question of the increase and improvement of the facilities of said sewer district in the matter described above, and to hear all persons interested in the subject thereof concern the same in accordance with the provisions of Section 202-B of the town law. Now therefore it is hereby ordered by the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, New York, as follows. Section 1. A public hearing will be held in the Town Hall in Poughkeepsie, New York, in said town on August 20, 2014 at 7 o'clock p.m. prevailing time on the question of the increase and improvement of the facilities of Country Club Estates Sewer District in the town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, New York, in the manner described in the preambles hereof, and to hear all persons interested in the subject thereof concerning the same, and to take such action thereon as is required or authorized by law. Section 2. The town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to cause a copy of the notice of public hearing hereinafter provided to be published once in the official newspaper, and also to cause a copy thereof to be posted on the signboard of the town. Such publication and postage to be made not less than 10, no more than 20 days before the date designated for the hearing. Section 3. The notice of public hearing shall be in substantially the form attached hereto as Exhibit A, and hereby made a part thereof. Section 4. This order shall take effect immediately. So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
Has to be a roll
On the
call?
docket, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It should be a roll call. Thank
On the
you.
back it says the question of the adoption of the foregoing order was duly put to vote on roll call.
Okay.
I don't know if you just want to read that into.
Felicia will take over from here.
Oh,
It's going to be a roll call vote. Jay Basil?
Aye.
William Carlos?
Aye.
Joe Conti?
aye.
Mike Sifone?
Aye.
Ann Sheershin?
Aye.
Todd Tancredi?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Felicia. Motion passes 6-0. All right, number 14, Jay.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept with regret the resignation of Marvin Bennett from the Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board effective immediately. Be it further resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie hereby designates Marvin Bennett as an alternate member of the Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board for a term to expire December 31st, 2015. So moved.
Second,
Motion is second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Marv for all the time he's put in and for his quick retirement. And you switched right around and you didn't walk away. And your skill will be greatly appreciated because all the years you've been here, every time I've asked a question, you've been right there for us. So thank you very much, Marv.
yeah, I had a chance to work with him on the planning board, and I thoroughly enjoyed his experience in hearing what he had to say about different things, so.
I appreciate the fact I've called you in Florida before to discuss things, and you picked up the phone, so I appreciate it, that you were always there for us when we needed it. Thank you. I'm still gonna be there, so.
Appreciate all you've done, Marv. I'm glad you're sticking around as an alternate. So, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Oh, you almost didn't make it, Marv. Motion passes 5-1.
Sign that one. There's this one going back.
All right, bill number 15.
He'll be missed, pal.
15, Bill?
You got to sign the other one.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Peter Finelli to the town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board to fill the unexpired term of Marvin Bennett, which term expires December 31st, 2018. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And the last item is notice of claim referred to legal. And that brings us to the end of our agenda. I'd like to make a motion to accept comments or questions on town issues.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone here who'd like to address the town board? Doreen?
Yeah, I'd like to know if any headway's been made in getting any more help for the zoning administrator for things like sign enforcement, because, she does a very good job, but she's only one person and could use more help, and it's been discussed for years and years, and there's a number of illegal signs right now, and
The budget, there's,
right, I meant
in
from
my
other
opinion.
departments.
Yeah, no, let me get to that. The budget doesn't allow for, in my estimation, the hiring of help in that area, although I recognize it's needed. I spoke to the building, head of the building department recently. We're having preliminary budget meetings, so I spoke to him and to the director of development about having the building guys, help in areas like this. So I've been told that they will, that they are and are willing to chip in. So I'm hoping that'll be the case and that they will help out. So as time allows, hopefully they'll lend a hand, because I know, especially during the summer months, it can be an issue.
Todd, Wayne has been trying to help her out a little bit, trying to take some of the other projects off her hands so she can do more of the signs. He's been doing more of the, property maintenance ones and doing some of the worst ones out to give her a break, because she does. She's out there and she's there for wherever you need her, for wherever you want.
And I told Doreen, the real problem this time of year is that she's, and it's just a sign of the times. 5 years ago, we didn't worry about it because it didn't exist, but are these property maintenance issues? Yeah. And all these property maintenance public hearings we've had over the last month and a half, that's taken a lot of Sarah's time. So, it is tough, and
it's not a reflection on her. She's only one person.
But I think the building guys are pitching in and trying to help out. So hopefully they'll help, her get a handle on some of these signs. Because, Doreen's right. Once one goes up, someone sees it, and then they want one, and we all know how it works. Everybody wants the biggest and the best and the newest in terms of signage, and so it's kind of a vicious,
Sandy's been there too. Sandy's been there for making a lot of calls, and the first time out, you get them out there, she's been calling. I call her,
working hard at it.
them. Yeah. She's had them taken down. It's not easy, because as quick as you take them down, somebody else puts them up.
Yeah.
It's not an easy project.
Yeah, they're working on it.
But now they're putting them 11 feet up on a telephone
Yeah, I know,
pole.
I've seen that.
That's intentionally being done. I thought about moving the sign section of law from zoning to just put it right in the regular code, make them fine $250 per sign. If we hired a part-timer to do 2 signs a day, 5 days a week, in 2 months, the position paid for itself, and you have 10 months of enforcement, which is then paid for already. I don't know the implications of that. I haven't had a chance to even look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But the enforcement then is being paid for by the people who are doing the violating, which kind of makes sense.
Well, one of the things I'd like to,
Not all intentional, that's the bad part.
we'd have to discuss that, but, part of the other issue is some of these organizations outside of the town, and I don't know if I should name a few, but I know there was one LaGrange. I saw the sign still on a pole on Main Street in Arlington, and then there was an event, a month or so ago in the city of Poughkeepsie. They had signs all over the town, and these organizations don't bother coming to get their signs after the event's over. And that's particularly irritating to me. So if they're going to go through the trouble of climbing a pole and putting the thing 10 feet up, go through the trouble of climbing the pole and pulling it down when the event's over with.
Anyway, then the other thing is that the sergeant tonight talked about, he emphasized that Boardman is a heavily traveled road, which is something that we tried to point out to the board when we asked for help at the intersection of Boardman and Spackenkill. And keep in mind that the assisted living, Wegmans Assisted Living, is not even, it's just being built now, and the library is still being built. So that area of town is getting worse, and nothing is improving at the intersection. So, and speaking of Wegmans, it started out that it was only going to be 5 of the 23 acres were going to be disturbed, and I looked at the site plan today, and the final amount was closer to 10 acres. And if you look at that site, I'd be surprised if it's only 10 acres. So again, people come before the town board, they come before the planning board, they say, this, that, and the other, and then when it comes right down to it, the bottom line is things change, and it's usually not for the better. So, thank you.
Thank you, Doreen. Anybody else? Rob?
I don't even know if I could make one of these offers as a member of the school, the Wappinger School Board, but if I can be deputized without salary, any signs on utility poles up to 8 feet, I could probably handle. Anyway, I just wanted to let the town residents know that Wappingers is embarking on a major capital improvement program, and it's affecting a lot of the schools. But in terms of the schools that are, some of the schools that are within this district, I'm talking about, we've had conversions, we're in the process of being almost completed, conversions to natural gas. One of those is Oak Grove School, so Central Hudson is bringing gas into that area if they haven't already done so. And I wanted to let the town residents know that I believe those folks in that area who currently are not on gas, not using gas, may be able to convert and realize the savings of using gas versus oil. Next year, we were planning on doing Kinry Road, converting that this year, but due to circumstances within the building, we can't do that. We're going to be converting Kinry Road next year.
Is there gas outside it?
Well, there's gas in the area. We're going to be running gas from, at this point, the plans are to run gas from Vassar Road to the Kinry Road School.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And will not be disturbing any habitat in that area. But specifically, I wanted to let the Oak Grove area residents know that they may be able to save some money.
Rob, are they going to be able to convert back and forth from gas to?
Yes.
Because that was a major issue with the cold weather this year with all the oil. That all the natural gas had a major shortage in Rockland County, and they had to all convert back in all the big buildings.
Oh, yeah?
Told to convert back because they couldn't handle the homes.
All of the schools that we've converted over the past year or so that I'm aware of, the boilers are dual, that they can go to either fuel.
Yeah, no, Sheaf Road was years ago, and they did it. And they ran the lines to it, but the residents weren't allowed to connect at that time. Now they're having more of a push, so it may have changed.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Anybody else? Marvin?
Marvin Bennett, Town of Poughkeepsie. I'd just like to thank the board for the consideration of my request. And the second thing I'd like to say is I'd like to reinforce what Doreen has said about the corner of Boardman and Spackenkill. It has been a problem growing over the years. And the more development we get on Boardman Road is going to make that a much more serious concern at that corner. People tend to speed down Spackenkill. And the people coming off of Boardman sometimes do speed. So I'd like the board to consider that in the future. And I know the planning board is starting to look at that in a little more depth all the time.
Well, and the thing I would recommend is, as I'm sure you're aware, Spackenkill being a state road, our state representatives need to be at the table and to talk about any changes to that intersection. The one, in my opinion, the changes that are going to be most helpful need to happen on Spackenkill Road in terms of maybe straightening out the curves there and making the sight distance better. So the state really needs to, be at the table. We've tried years ago to get them to the table and with no success. But I think the more people that maybe write to their state representatives, maybe something will happen there.
But thank you guys very much.
Thanks. Anybody else? Our rec director's here tonight, and Tom, since you're in the audience, and I know you think quick on your feet, come on up. I just want, if you could I know we're coming to the end of a very successful summer camp program. Knock on wood, I think we have a week left after this week, so I don't want to jinx anything, but I know it's gone really well this year, so just give the board just a slight recap of the number of participants and how it's gone.
Thank you. This is our 5th week out of 6. We had set the budget at 100 campers per week, and we are now up at an average of 115 per week. So we have exceeded our budget expectation there and kept the costs in line at the same time. The camp program has gone very well. The parents are happy, the kids are happy, the staff has performed well together. I, excuse me, want to recognize our whole staff.
We had some extended hours this year as well, which I think's worked out well.
Right, extended hours from 7:30 in the morning to 6 at night.
Yeah, to try to, we did that to try to help people who are working, to take their children earlier and keep them later to help out the working parents. And I think it's going well. So I just appreciate all that Tom's done. It's been a busy summer for the entire rec department, but they've done a really good job. And I wanted to recognize the hard work they've put in. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tom, you've definitely grown that camp from the first year on. It's definitely more and more you talk to people, they're happy, they want their children going back the following year. You guys have done a great job since the beginning. And the head counselor you have this year, I've heard nothing but good things about him.
Yes, our camp director, Matt Meyer, is a teacher from Westchester County, and he's done an excellent job this year.
Yes. Well, make sure he knows we appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks, Tom.
And Tom, before you leave, he left me some flyers tonight. We're having a concert in Riverview, August 19th. And Tom's been around the recreation field all these years. He do some networking. He's got the American Idol finalist, Tim Urban, coming to play. Took him a while to hook it up, but
No kidding.
and he's got him coming August 19th at 7 p.m. So, Tom, thanks for putting that together.
I'm going to put it up.
Riverview Park is in New Hamburg, between Twin Road and Del Basso Road.
Up at work.
Great.
Tom,
Sounds,
what we got
sounds
you?
exciting.
Real quick, how's our swim program going? I've heard good things about it. I know I couldn't get my kids in because we're packed, so I'm hoping to get them in the next cycle. But what have you heard back feedback?
The swim lesson program's gone well. We outsourced it this year to the Jewish Community Center, or rather the Hudson Valley Community Center. And basically, we've done the registration, we've done the promotion, and they've run the program for us.
Good.
It's inside, so weather's not an issue.
It's inside, the weather's not an issue. It's
Worked out
not
well.
those 50-degree days, the kids aren't out there shivering.
Right.
And it's taken a lot of the burden off of us because we haven't had to directly administer the program, hire a staff, do the things.
Our
that we
numbers are
had to
still
do.
pretty much the same from last year, though?
They're slightly down, but that was by design.
Okay.
We ended up running a few less classes to try to accommodate the center and try to accommodate the change.
Okay, good. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Make a motion to resume the rules.
You're all right.
To adjourn?
Put those supervisors back.
Motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Town board adjourns at 7:55 PM.